We're on in 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, Paisan? I'm Danny Sestovino. This is Ses Says. I cannot believe we are at week 8 of the fantasy season. I remember a couple weeks ago, we were getting ready to go to Sweik's house for the draft, and here we are more than halfway through the fantasy regular season. How's it going, everybody? I want to talk about the teams at the top, cream of the crop, rising to the top, baby. Let's start with Bo. He is 6-1. Kid's on fire. Okay, we knew his wide receivers were good. He talked about it the last time we had him on the show, and he takes pride in those receivers. But we didn't know these running backs were going to be that good. Melvin Gordon, Jay Ajayi are on fire. Last week, the two were the two highest scoring at the position. Bo is on an absolute roll, and the coach got his wish. Kamish redid the power rankings, and what do you know? Tommy Bo is at the top. So after further review, the call has been overturned. Bo is at the top of the power rankings. He will not be charged a timeout. Number 2 right now is, who is it? Oh, I'm sorry. It's Zach. Suck it cockbags in second place at 5-2 for Halloween. Zach's fantasy team is going as like a Humanoff fantasy team. They just keep winning games. They're doing excellent this year behind Julio Jones, and it's really scary to think we haven't even got Jamal Charles on the field yet. So the 1 seed is Bo, the 2 seed is Zach. They face off against each other here in week 8, which is the primetime matchup of this week. Everyone should keep an eye on those two. Now, let's start talking about some of these teams that have turned it around the last couple weeks. My man, nice hands, Dan White, the Great White, has won 3 in a row also. And the last time we had a Seth Says episode, he was just 1-2. So now he's put himself right into the playoff mix here at 4-3, doing a great job. We will see how his team can handle the news about losing CJ Anderson for the rest of the year. But I think White's off to a really great start. Another team that's turned it around since the last episode is Kamish himself. And he's putting up big wins against Bo and Zach and Sweik, some of these really elite teams that we have so far in this league. And not only that, he's doing it with a lot of points. He's topped 150 points twice in the last couple weeks. Hats off to Kamish, really doing a great job. A couple teams are starting to really struggle, though. We have 3 teams at 2-5. And while not technically mathematically eliminated, they probably have to go 5-1 in the next couple of weeks to put themselves at 7-6 and give themselves a real shot here at becoming a playoff team and making a run. Now, one of these teams is from Washington. And I don't know if you've seen the clips this week, but the head coach completely blew a gasket after losing his 3rd straight. Really upset with the players, the effort, the media. I think we have a censored version of the clip that we can roll for you guys. Let's take a look at this.
We sit here at 2-5 and back to the drawing board on the rest of the season. You, sir, in the front row. Why did I cut Thomas Rawls? Can't coach him. Can't win with him. Can't do it. Next question. Say it again. This is bull. We're 2-5. We're gonna figure out ways to win. No comment. It's a bull question you asked me, and you knew that was gonna upset me. Next question. And I'm sorry I'm screaming at you. I'm not mad at you. Playoffs? We can't even be asking me about the playoffs. We got 2 wins. Will Jordan Reed play this week? Is that what you said? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm the coach. How am I supposed to know that? Are you a idiot? It is incredible to look at all of you in the face as you criticize me and my team here in Washington about losing games. We lose by 0.2. We lose by 0.5. I can't tell you how frustrating that is. And then to come in here and ask unprofessional question after unprofessional question, it's bull. It starts with us. But these heartbreaking losses have got us really fucking off right now. The criticism on me as a coach is boggling to me. I'm sorry, say it again. You know what? That's it. Conference is over, folks. Go home. You know, really sad to see that go on in Washington. That coach has had some success in the past, but not this year. And you know, you gotta carry yourself a little more gracefully than that. It's sad to see, but you know, we will move on. Okay, so the message boards are starting to become really active in the last couple of weeks. You know, Iger's out there posting that he's ready to trade. Jude is posting that he's ready to trade. You know, people are going to start making moves, and I'm excited to see what happens. In fact, this week, Iger ships Jordy Nelson over to Berlin, and he gets back Edelman, and he gets Gio. And I think I like this move on both sides here. Burrs is one of these teams that we were mentioning is probably needs to win 5 out of the next 6 games to give himself a shot at the playoffs. So he goes and gets a horse in Jordy Nelson. Iger, on the other hand, middle of the pack guy, probably needs some depth along this long journey to becoming Super Bowl champion. So he gets Edelman and he gets Gio. I think I like it on both sides, but I want to see more trades. Who's going to give up the first draft pick? Who's going to go get the first big name? Let's see it happen, baby. So to give me some insight on the What's Up Hendry League at the halfway mark and talk about his own team, I got a face-to-face interview with Steve Jeremita's better half in this week's Sunday Conversation.
Sunday Conversation, brought to you by Subaru.
All right, here we are with the best dressed coach of the What's Up Hendry League, Kevin Sweik. Welcome to the Sunday Conversation.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
No problem. No problem, Kev. Kev, some people said you've lost it. You haven't won a playoff game since 2012. You haven't been to the playoffs since 2013. You know, you didn't even win a game 2 years ago. Even Kevin Reynolds, former What's Up Hendry participant who drafted Brett Favre in the first round of the year he played, was able to win 1 game. What happened?
Well, I don't like what you did there. I told you I wanted to come here to talk about what's going on in the now and what's going on in the future. And first thing you did is brought up the past. You know, it's not something I'm proud of. But let's leave it there and let's move on.
All right, fair enough. I do have to bring up, a couple years ago, you're in the Super Bowl. You have a heartbreaking loss, 1.2 point loss to Rob Kerins. That's the Tennessee Titans version of reaching for the goal line and coming up just short.
Yeah, you know what? It was devastating. A lot of questions came up if I was doing the right thing as an owner. You know, things happened since then, especially losing to the Dark Lord himself. Really, really hurt. But again, you know, we're really focused on the future right now, and we think we have the pieces in place.
Okay, good. I like hearing that. So here you are, you've weathered the storm, you're back to your winning ways, you're back reunited with Steve, and you're back near the top of the league. You're in 3rd place right now. Why is this going to be your year?
Well, we started off really hot. Obviously, home field advantage, having the draft in our own stadium was huge. We didn't have to travel. You know, we were comfortable with the conditions and really put a good team on on the roster and started off hot. You know, Steve's back. He has a fire lit under him, and he's ready to win us this championship. And I'm ready to support and do whatever I can as the owner.
I love
to
it.
get us there.
I love to hear the optimistic outlook, and you've started off 3-0. That's a great start to the season. You lose the next 3, but then this week you get a big win. You're 4-3. Is your team ready to roll now?
Listen, I brought back Steve. I didn't do it for my health. I did it to win a title. We're here. We have the pieces in place. We're going to do what's needed, and we're going to bring a championship to this town.
All right. So 2017, you have very high hopes. So let's talk about your schedule here for a second. The 2 teams that you have to play twice this year are Zach and Tabor. Now Tabor is very highly ranked in commission's rankings,
Right.
and Zach is very high ranked in our true standings at 5-2. Did you get a tough draw here?
Well, I got to be honest, and I love both of these guys, great guys. But when I saw the schedule come out, we were licking our chops. Zach has been known to draft a tight end or 2 or even 3 early on, and usually Tabor's at this point has kind of fallen off, and he started building for next year. So when we saw the schedule come out, we were really excited about it. We thought we had a good draw, but I got to give the owners credit. They've done what they needed to do to their team. They've really amped up the energy on their team, and they've put a competitive team in place. It's going to be a great matchup, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, see what they do.
Okay, so this becomes a very crucial part of the regular season here. Teams are either out of it and looking to sell, or teams are ready to make a move. When we talked to the GM of the Denver Broncos a couple weeks back, he said he's one of those teams that's looking to buy. Are you going to do the same type of move and trade a 2017 draft pick for a big player now?
Well, speaking of the coach himself, last year he was looking to buy. I sold to set myself up to win this year.
Fair point.
And I am prepared to do whatever it takes to bring a championship to this town. Andrew Eiger said Le'Veon's on the table, and I'll be candid. Our front offices are talking, and we're looking to get something done.
Yeah, I mean, if you can land a guy like Le'Veon, I got to say that's going to probably set you up for some good success moving forward. All right, Kev, I like talking about your team. Let's start talking about a little bit more of the rest of the league. I've set up a little game with Halloween just around the corner. This is a trick or treat. All right, I'm going to say something, and if you agree, you will say treat. If you disagree with what I'm saying, you say trick. Okay, let's start with an easy one. Steve as a co-manager.
Treat. He's here. He's going to bring us a championship. We're going to go all the way. I love having him. I really missed him last year. He's back, and we're going to do this.
All right, Commission's power rankings.
Oh, trick. I didn't even get right.
All right, how about this week, big waiver claim on Davante Adams?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers obviously hasn't been the Aaron Rodgers that we've come to know and love, but he is Aaron Rodgers. He's going to bounce back, and he needs a support staff. Davante Adams is one of those guys you can always count on to be there, and I really think he's going to get him over this hurdle and move on to see some great success.
All right, how about first rounder Jamal Charles coming back to his stud form?
Yeah, this isn't 2014. Big trick. At this point, I think you're almost better with Arian Foster.
All right, how about Tony Romo will be the starting quarterback of the Cowboys?
It's a trick. I was actually talking to Tony myself this morning. He wants to be out there. He thinks he's ready, but I told him, for the sake of yourself as a family man, you got to put your family first right now. I don't want to see you wind up in a wheelchair.
All right, so it's almost that time. What about Hillary?
Big treat. You gotta love what she does for everyone involved. She's great personality, best interest of everyone else above her own. Witty, smart, intelligent, charismatic personality, and above all, she really puts a smile on the commissioner's face.
The commissioner, I thought Brad was a Republican.
Oh, we're talking Hillary Clinton. Trick. Hillary Clinton, trick.
Okay, all right, let's move on. What about fantasy owner Rob Kerrins?
I hate to say it, but at this point, I think it's a treat. When we had the draft, he failed to show up. He failed to send any of his associates. So he left here with probably the worst team on paper, but he somehow again managed to unknowingly put together a team that seems to really work together. And I don't know what he's feeding his team, but I want some of it.
What about fantasy team name Diaries of a Black Unicorn?
Treat. I gotta love it. You know, Jude's always shows up with a lot of creativity on his team names, and unfortunately, that's usually all he shows up with fantasy with. But big treat, creative, and I've never seen a name like that before.
What about one of these 3 and 4 teams? Umanov started off 1 and 3. He can make the playoffs from 3 and 4.
Treat. You know, he started off 1 and 3, but that was a 1 and 3 Brady-less Umanov's team. Since then, he's gone on to decimate his teams, winning by the likes of 40, 45, and 40 again. So I really like what he's done. He's the hottest team by far in our league.
I like it. What about the set of Sess Says?
Trick. I couldn't believe it when I saw the ticker under the ESPN. You renewed your lease. I couldn't believe it. There are pipes everywhere.
All right. What about Reese's Peanut Butter Cup as a candy?
Ooh. Trick and treat. Nothing wrong with a little bit of peanut butter in the middle, surrounded by a nice coat of chocolate. Really gets the juices flowing.
All right, let's get one more of these in here. Biggest win streak right now, Dan White. Dan White will continue his winning ways in the future.
Trick. Really got to give credit to what he's done thus far, but he's going up against a brutal opponent this coming week. I don't think you're going to see too much out of his team moving forward.
All right, there you have it. This is the head coach of the Red Hot, Evan Skolnick. Kev, thank you very much for being on the show this week. I wish you the best of luck. Any closing words here?
I'll be seeing you in the playoffs.
I'm Danny Sess, and that's what we're saying.